Good morning. It's Thursday, June 3rd, and I'm Kenny Polcari, host of the party, morning market commentary, everything you need to know and then some to get the day started. But it was another quiet day yesterday, so not a whole lot going on, although this morning it feels a little bit more anxious as futures are now down more than triple digits, with the Dow down 200, the S&P's off about 25, the NASDAQ down over 100, and the Russell getting hit a little bit as well. But we'll get to that in a minute. So yesterday, the broader market just continued to churn, right? Yet the meme stocks were on fire. And you know the ones we're talking about. GME, AMC clearly taking the lead, up 96%, and BlackBerry was up 30%. But we'll talk about that in a minute. The Fed's Beige Book, which came out yesterday, does reveal this robust recovery, but is also suggesting about building inflationary pressures, causing some concern. Employment will be the focus today and again tomorrow. Treasuries are yielding 1.6%, gold's trading right around 1900, and oil's holding steady at 68.70. Bitcoin's trading at 39,000, Ethereum's trading at 2,800, and Dogecoin is up a penny at 41 cents a coin. And what are we having for dinner tonight? We are going to have the pork cutlet caprese. It's a delicious dish. Again, fairly simple to make, yet presents beautifully on the plate, and it's very colorful, and your guests will enjoy it. But we'll get to that in a minute. So what happened? Like I said, most of the stocks yesterday took a nap, right? The broader market didn't do anything. There wasn't any real action other than the meme stocks, right? They were crazed yesterday. The Reddit traders, all the people in the Reddit chat room, talking it up, talking it down, talking it up like crazy, right? They couldn't get enough of it. And like I said, GME was up 13%. AMC, really the winner, up 96%, and higher again this morning. We'll get to that. And BlackBerry was up 34%. All very exciting, producing outsized returns for anyone who's trading it. So I'm not suggesting people aren't making money. People are making money. Traders are making money, yes. But that doesn't mean that it's a great investment, because clearly it's not a long-term investment at all. Look, AMC, just so you understand, AMC has 498 million shares outstanding. Okay, that's a fair amount. It traded 700 million shares yesterday. It traded 140% of its outstanding shares. And so therefore, it does not suggest any of those people are long-term investors by any stretch of the imagination. They are traders, and that's fine. And they're talking it up. You go to that Reddit room, and they're all in there talking. They light each other on fire because they put comments in there that just create hysteria, and that's what we're seeing. In this case, it's positive hysteria because they took the stock up 96%. But I'm just telling you, it trades 140% of its outstanding volume. Does not suggest committed, long-term, loyal investors. And this morning, it's up another 20%. And by 7 o'clock, it already traded 6 million shares. By 7 o'clock, the pre-market's only open a couple hours. It's already traded 6 million shares. So you can probably expect another up day, big day of AMC. And yesterday, the Wall Street Journal, it's almost a joke. The Wall Street Journal writes a story about AMC and reveals that the company announced on Wednesday that they are going to reward the loyalty of individual investors who have committed and bet big on the stock this year, giving them special benefits at the theater. Okay, but this is where it gets completely stupid. Because what are those benefits? Guess what? You bring your Robinhood account with you and you show, I guess, the person behind the counter at the movie theater that you own AMC, and you're going to get a free large popcorn. You can't make this up. The theater's going to give you a free large popcorn because you were a loyal AMC investor. And as long as you got your Robinhood account to prove it, you're getting a free large popcorn. I gotta run right out and just buy some AMC. I haven't bought any of it. I don't even have a Robinhood account, but I guess I gotta open one and buy some so I can get a free large popcorn when I go to the movie theater. I mean, it's beyond ridiculous, but whatever. In any event, it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, you can't make this up. Who would even believe you if you even tried to tell you this? Anyway, the broader market's been trading in a very tight range over the last couple of weeks, right? We haven't seen any major moves one way or the other. There's been a lot of push and pull. Nothing particularly exciting surrounding the themes, right, that we've been talking about. today's focus is going to be, like I said, all about employment, right? You got ADP coming out at 8:30. You've got initial jobless claims, which are expected now to be in the 3, right? Have a 3 handle. So it's supposed to come in at 387, down from 440 last week. That's a positive. Yet continuing claims continue to be at 3.6 million, and they're expected again today to be at 3.6 million, which means, there's some trouble there. While initial claims on a weekly basis are down, the continuing claims, the people who continue to go back and claim benefits, remains at 3.6 million, which doesn't really make a lot of sense because there are more than enough jobs for people to have if they want to go out and have them. But that's a whole nother conversation, right? Remember that the tapering, the employment data today and tomorrow, ADP and non-farm payrolls, is gonna dictate or at least provide some color on this labor shortage dynamic that's going on, and it's going to dictate or influence what the Fed may or may not do, and then what investors may or may not do in the weeks ahead, right? Everyone is still asking, are we going to get a tapering? When is the tapering going to begin? Are they going to start hinting about talking about it, or they are now going to move on to talking about it? And you know what we're getting there? A mixed message, right? I said it at the beginning and I'll say it again now. The Fed is giving you mixed message. Half of them is saying we're going to hinting about talking, while the other half is saying absolutely not. We're nowhere close. And that happened again yesterday with Lael Brainerd coming out saying, no, we're not anywhere close. Don't worry about it. And Harker, Fed President Harker coming out saying, oh, no, it's time to talk about it, is that, all the data is pointing in the direction of building inflationary pressures, and it's time for us to talk about tapering. And so therefore we have that conflicted message, which is kind of keeping the market in check, right? People aren't really sure which side is going to win. Is it going to be we got to talk about it, or is it going to be the no, we could push this off for another couple of months? In any event, expect to hear more and more about this in the months ahead, and we already know that, right? And watch as investors position themselves in their portfolio to reflect what their own opinion is of what that result is going to be. And then many are asking, do we expect the market to suffer this taper tantrum? Or will the Fed do such a good job at jawboning the message? They're going to come out there, they're going to talk, they're going to make everybody lie down on a couch. Yeah, take a Xanax. Let's talk about this. They're going to do such a good job that maybe we don't have a taper tantrum and investors in the markets will just adjust. Well, look, in any event, it's going to have to adjust because once they talk about taper tantrum, the valuations are no longer going to be what they are expected or projected to be, and so there has to be an adjustment. Now, whether or not that adjustment happens in a tantrum fashion or whether it just happens kind of gradually, that will be the question, right? But you've got a lot of street analysts now appearing to jump into the it's okay camp, that they don't expect a taper tantrum at all. Now, you might get a pullback in the market, but it may be a gradual one, and that's what that message really is. And yesterday, we also found out, the Fed kind of slipped this under, and it's in the Wall Street Journal today, and it is on the news, that they're preparing to sell their $13 billion corporate bond and ETF portfolio that they acquired beginning last March during the COVID crisis as they tried to bring calm and stability to those markets. In a vehicle that is known as the Secondary Market Corporate Credit Facility, right? So it's the SMCCF. In case you hear that acronym, that's what that is, right? It's not a big deal. They made it very clear that this move to liquidate that facility is no part of the monetary policy conversation, the tapering conversation. Now look, the Fed's balance sheet is $7.3 trillion. That's the conversation we're worried about. A $13 billion credit facility that they're going to liquidate by December is a pimple on their ass. It's not a problem. So, well, they put it out there because they had to put it out there. That's not really what's going to drive the market. A $13 billion move that's going to take 6 months to get through because it'll be done by December, is nothing that's going to shake the markets. If you start talking about a $7.3 trillion portfolio, that's the different conversation, and that's the conversation that that everyone's focused on. The eco data yesterday revealed that the Fed's beige book talks about this robust recovery happening, but it's also pointing to building inflationary pressures, just FYI. So it's another data point that talks about building inflationary pressures, right? This morning, U.S. futures are weaker. Now, when I wrote my note, the Dow futures are only down 113. That was at 6 a.m. It's now 7:15, and Dow futures are down over 200. The Nasdaq's down over 100. S&Ps are down over 25, and the Russell's getting whacked as well. 10-year treasuries are flat at the moment at 1.6%. The dollar's trading back below 90. So the dollar continues to get weaker, and that's actually a positive for the big U.S. multinationals. So if you're looking for a place to put some money, the big U.S. multinationals, like the big Americana U.S. multinationals, will do very well in a weaker dollar environment. So if you're looking for a place to, if you're looking for an idea, that's a place to put some money. You also want to put, and those fall into the value trades as well. So just so you know. Gold, which rallied yesterday, is now trading off $11, but it's still trading right at 1900. And oil, like I said, is steady at 68.70. European markets are all a bit lower this morning. They're reacting to some weaker Chinese macro data about their composite services PMI in China, which came in at 55.1, a little bit weaker than 56.3 last month, but certainly well ahead of the 50. But look, I take everything China says with a huge barrel of salt, not even a grain of salt. I don't believe half the stuff they say, so I don't pay much attention to it. But maybe you do. In Europe, though, the IHS Markit final composite for the European zone came in at 57.1, up from 53.8. That was a significant move higher. That's bullish. That's positive. Remember, it's well now. It's moving well away from 50, and that's well into expansionary territory. So that's actually a positive. But we do see European markets kind of under some pressure as well. And I think part of that is just just the churning and digesting. Bitcoin, like I said, is trading at 39,000. That's up a couple of $1,000. Doggy Coin's at 2,800. Ethereum's at 2,800, and Doggy Coin's trading at 42 cents. Oil, while it's taking a breather, continues to churn right here at $68.70. As expectations of fuel demand around the world continue to surge, OPEC is now assuming that demand is going to run at 99.5 million barrels per day, while supply is only going to run at 97.5 million barrels per day, clearly suggesting demand is outstripping supply, which then suggests that prices are going to go up and not down because demand exceeds supply. And so that's just simple Econ 101, right? Supply versus demand. The S&P closed last night at 4208. Right, in a very tight range of 41.98 on the downside, 42.17 on the upside, closing really kind of closer to the lows, and now we see this morning the markets are weaker. They feel a bit tired. I've been saying that for a while. They feel a bit extended. Valuations are stretched, especially if we're having this conversation about tapering, about rates, about policy. All that stuff is going to continue. I've said it. I'll say it again. It's going to continue to put a cap on what I think is the market here in the short term. The focus is going to be on what the Fed says on June 15th and 16th. Actually, they'll come out on the 16th, but the meeting starts on Tuesday the 15th. The report comes out on the 16th. We run into the Fed quiet period, 5 days before that. So, the Fed speakers are going to get out, this week and then part of next week, and then they're going to go mum ahead of the meeting, right? So I'd sit tight. There's no real reason to do anything at all. The market's not having a complete major meltdown unless you're trading the meme stocks, and then of course you want to be in there all day. But I would say the market is weaker today. I've been calling for that. Yesterday I said, any new money I have, I've been putting aside, waiting for some weakness in the market. Let's see what happens today. Maybe the market gets weak. I don't think this is it. I think the market continues to get weaker, but maybe today will provide some opportunities to put some of that to work, and maybe not. I'm going to take my time, and I'm just going to sit back and watch how the market reacts, right? You know what you can do? You can text the word INVEST to 21,000, get my digital business card. Feel free to download it. Give me a call, send me a text, send me an email. I'm happy to talk to you about the markets. I'm happy to talk to you about planning, whatever it is you need to watch. You can also follow me on Twitter at Kenny Polcari. So what are we having for dinner tonight? Okay, so this is pork cutlets caprese. It is delicious, right? They are boneless pork cutlets, pounded thin. So you can either do it, or you can have the butcher do it. But you want thin sliced pork cutlets. And for this, you need tomato, right? Nice garden fresh tomatoes. You need arugula, red onion. You can use also cherry tomatoes if you want, right? Small cherry tomatoes, you're going to cut them in half. But if you use garden, big garden tomatoes, you want to dice those up almost like you'd make like a bruschetta. You dice them. Don't leave them in big pieces. because this dish, those colors, the red, the green, makes a very colorful dish. It's a great presentation, and if you set up your table outside and you have dinner outside under the stars with some soft music on, it's really perfect for you and your guests. So what do you need? You need the pork cutlets. You need flour, eggs, you need seasoned Italian breadcrumbs, whether you buy them or you make them yourselves. I always make mine myself. I take hamburger rolls, put them in the food processor and chop them up. To that I add both Parmigiana and Romano cheese. I add a little bit of salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and I mix it well to make my breadcrumbs, right? And then you might add some parsley in there just for color, but parsley doesn't add really any flavor. But you can put parsley in there to make it colorful if you want. You need, if you use the tomatoes, I just told you, you're going to dice them up. If you use cherry tomatoes, just slice them in half. You don't have to slice the cherry tomatoes up small. Just slice them in half. That would be fine. You need red onion. Red onion is great on this dish. You need lemon juice from a fresh lemon. And you need your shaved Parmigiana cheese, right? So you're going to start by turn your oven on to broil, just get it ready to go, right? So this way it's heating up and it's ready to go when you want it, when you're going to make it. You're going to take your pork cutlets that you've had pounded thin or you pounded yourself thin. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to set up almost like an assembly line, right? You want a plate of flour. Then you want a bowl of scrambled eggs, right? You got to beat your eggs, make them scrambled. And then you want the seasoned breadcrumbs, right, in a line. So you want to start by taking the pork cutlet. You want to dredge it in the flour on both sides so it's covered. Check off any excess. Then dip it in the egg. And then take it from the egg and put it in the breadcrumbs and cover both sides with the breadcrumbs. Kind of pat it down so the breadcrumbs stick to the cutlet, and then just place it on a plate. Repeat that until you're done with all your cutlets. And now get a Pyrex dish or an aluminum broiling pan, whatever you want. Put olive oil on the bottom of the pan, enough that you're covering the bottom of the pan. Put it in the oven alone first, just the oil, because you want the oil to get hot, because you want the oil to be really hot when you put the cutlets in, because you want to hear it sizzle, because when it sizzles, then the breadcrumbs will sizzle to the pork cutlet and they'll stay on. If you put it in when the oil's cold or warm, then you're going to soak the breadcrumbs off and it's not going to come out right. So listen to me when I tell you this. Put the pan in the oven, let the oil get hot, but watch it so that it doesn't, explode into a flame if you forget it. So just put it in there, watch it. You can tell when it's going to get hot. And if you're not sure, take a couple of breadcrumbs and toss it in the oil. And if they sizzle, it's ready. So now pull it out. Put one pork cutlet at a time. You put it in the oil, you dip it on one side, you flip it over so you dip the other side. You fill the whole plate, the whole pan. Put it back under the broiler. Now you watch it. It's probably going to cook 5 to 6 minutes. Pull it out. If they're nice and golden brown, you flip them over, put it back under the broiler so the other side gets nice and golden brown, another 5 or 6 minutes, but you time it. You don't want to burn them. You might get a little bit browner around the edges, but you want the cutlet to be really nice and golden. When they're done, take it out, put it on a platter, continue until you've done all your pork cutlets. Now, when you get ready to serve it, you want to take the pork cutlets, put it on a warmed plate, and then dress it. You're going to dress it with the arugula first, then you're going to put on the chopped red onion, the cherry tomatoes or the diced tomatoes, whichever one you use. You're going to season it with salt and pepper. You're going to take the fresh lemon juice. You're going to squeeze a little bit of fresh lemon juice on the top, and then you're going to take a splash of olive oil, just a splash, not too much, and just put it on top. And then dress it with the Parmigiana, the shaved Parmigiana cheese on top of that. After you dress it, then put the cheese on top and serve it. It's a colorful dish. It's a great dish. And look, you can do this with pork, you can do it with veal, you can do it with chicken. But tonight we're having pork, and if you like pork, it's the other white meat, so it's good, and you're never going to go wrong with it, and your guests are going to enjoy it. At any event, get ready for the day as the market gets prepared to open. Take good care, and I will see you tomorrow.